today. We're giving away 6,000 Ghana cedis, so that's to 3 people. Dial now and be a lucky winner. We're about to talk about road safety. What do you know about defensive driving? After you went to driving school and they taught you all that, have you thought about it? Do you remember what it is? Do you know anything about it? Kosi, the CEO of iGarage, our reliable companion with all things vehicles and safety, is here. Kosi, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm very defensive.
That's nice.
So defensive driving.
Yeah.
I don't think I've had defensive driving since driving school in the year 2005. That's when I went to driving school, I think.
Oh, that's
2006,
yeah.
actually. What is defensive driving?
So defensive driving, when we talk about it, is just a set of actions a driver must take on the road to prevent or save life, save time, and also save money.
I like the save time part.
Yeah.
Does it help you to beat traffic?
No. So when we say save time, what it means is that if there is an issue on the road, you are going to spend a lot of time. Let's say there's a collision or something, you have to go to the police station, you have to go to hospital and all those things. So you take these actions. Maybe if you are a speeder or something, you are trying to drive maybe extra faster, maybe to save just 10 minutes. But if there is a collision or there is an issue on the road, that time is going to translate into hours, days, or whatever.
Yeah.
So set of actions we take to save life, which is the most important one, then save time and also to kind of save money. Because once there is an issue on the road, a collision or whatever, money is going to get involved. So these 3 things are priorities when we talk about defensive driving.
Okay. So is defensive driving things I have to do to prevent accidents as well?
Exactly. So these are things that you do not to. So in terms of defensive driving, you're kind of thinking for the other road users too, not just for you. Okay. Because you can be careful, but another road user may not be careful. So you have to be. Which is
always the case.
Exactly. So you have to be in a state, like you said, you are defensive. So you see the other road user to have the tendency to do the wrong thing. So then you are in the position to kind of, even if that wrong thing happens, you have to prevent it from maybe translating into an incident or accident.
This morning when I was driving to work, I was driving around 4:45 a.m. On the highway. I decided to switch lanes because there was a car in front of me that was too slow. I showed my indicator and switched. The moment I switched, the person in front of me also decided to switch. I know when you're switching lanes, you usually want to drive faster. Yeah. So I switched, and just as I was about to accelerate, this guy, in truck row in front of me, switched lanes at the same time, and I almost ran into him. He didn't turn his indicator on, so I did not know he was going to switch lanes. Can you always predict that the other person is going to do something wrong? And how can you do it? Because I did not think for a moment that was going to happen, and I nearly got into an accident.
Yeah, so defensive driving, I think there are certain characteristics that make somebody a defensive driver. I think one of them is you must have knowledge about the vehicle you are even using, the road conditions and everything. Then there must be that alertness that, okay, somebody can do the wrong thing. So you must always anticipate that the wrong thing can happen on the road. So if you are switching lane, you kind of, okay, what are the possible or the possibilities of somebody doing the wrong thing? So you have to anticipate all those things and also be alert. In case the thing happens, how do you respond to it? Okay. So they all form part of the defensive driving techniques. And we have about 5 types of drivers on the road. We have the distracted driver, somebody when he jumps onto the steering wheel, that is when he wants to make the phone call, he wants to call the wife, he wants to call the children. So it's like either internal or external distraction. We have the timid driver. It's like new drivers. It's like he just came out of the driving school. So these people are not able to speed. They are driving slow because every time you have to move with the flow.
Yeah.
So this type of drivers, they are on the road, but they are not moving. They are braking anyhow. Then we have the aggressors. The aggressors, they are the people who swing lanes anyhow. They want to jump in front of everybody. Then we have the ones we call the speeders. Those ones, when you meet them or on the highway, they want to be first every time. So when they see a vehicle ahead of them, the focus is to pass that vehicle. Then we also have we have the, how do we call it? We have the
defensive drivers.
No. We have the timid drivers. Okay, I've mentioned that one already. So in all those
Do
ones.
we have careless drivers?
So all these drivers form part of the careless driver. If you put them together, then we have the good driver or the defensive driver. So the good driver is the one who kind of prevent or avoids all these other drivers. So he is on the road. He's anticipating what the other road users can do. He kind of understands all the hazards. So for defensive driving, I think there are three things that you must know. You must be aware of the hazards on the road. So anytime you are going on the road, you need to be aware of all the hazards on the road, both from the road itself or other users. So for instance, you said somebody was switching lane unaware or whatever. So once you step out of your house onto the road, you should know that, okay, one hazard is somebody can switch lane, somebody can cross you. So then there must also be the ability to spot those hazards when they begin to kind of manifest. Because you are aware of the hazards, but you don't know how to spot them or how to anticipate them. So the second, like I said, is to be able to spot them. And when you spot them, you must take immediate corrective actions to prevent those hazards or those things from occurring. So those are three things a defensive driver must do. So in terms of defensive driving, it doesn't just start from the road. It starts from your home. So it's like journey management. Wherever you are going, a lot of people are kind of aggressive on the road or kind of in a hurry on the road because they haven't planned their journeys well. Some of them too, okay, the vehicle fails them on the road. So defensive driving actually starts from the house. So you need to make sure that, one, your vehicle is in good condition. When you wake up, you check everything. It's like you check that your fluids, your tires, even to an extent that you have a spare tire, jack, and all those things. Because on the highway or the freeway, when you break down in this part of the world, we don't have people or towing vehicles that maybe within minutes they will come and pick you. So you have to change your tire. So, and for a defensive driver, you must ensure that you don't leave your vehicle on the road beyond a certain reasonable amount of time, especially in the evenings, because then you are creating a hazard or you are creating a risk for other road users to run into your vehicle.
Yeah.
So you need to be able to know that, okay, some of those things that will ensure that your vehicle get off the road as quickly as possible are in place.
Okay.
So that is why a defensive driver must also have some reasonable amount of skills in taking care of vehicles, just minimum.
You have to know how to change your car tire.
How to change your car tire, because that is normally what happens on the road. So
you also have to have petrol. People who have 1 gallon, one gallon drivers are not defensive drivers.
No. 1 gallon.
What about you see, the economy can turn you into a careless driver. Because when things are good, you can buy petrol, you become a good defensive driver who always has petrol. But sometimes, nowadays, I know some people who used to be good drivers, but nowadays, you know, they always have gallons in their cars so that just in case they run out of fuel, they can quickly get 1 gallon. But when you said defensive driving earlier, my producer, Oliver, he thought you meant people who don't allow people to cross them.
Oh, no.
Because you know there's some people, they would never let you get in front of them, especially when there's traffic. That's not defensive driving.
No, that's not defensive driving.
Defensive driving. That's wicked driving.
That's like, we call them even aggressors. They're on the road and they are insulting people, throwing their hands and trying to cross everybody. But a defensive driver is calm. He is kind of understand the road hazards or the hazards on the road and anticipate or understands how to spot them. Because one, you need to know the hazard. So but if the hazard is emanating, you should also be able to spot it that, no, okay, I'm driving, let's say I'm driving through a busy city, maybe Friday evening. So once you're approaching the city, you are kind of doing about 100 kilometers per hour. So quickly you should know that, okay, Friday evening, there may be funerals, there may be other social programs happening around. So you need to start kind of reducing speed. Yeah, and anticipating that somebody will chase his goat, somebody will chase maybe a child or whatever across the road. So you understand those hazards. So when you kind of, and a defensive driver, one of the things is you should also be able to look ahead of you. That's all part of the anticipation. So in a city drive, we say you should be able to kind of look at least 2 intersections ahead of you. On a highway, you should be able to look to the next, where the profile ends, or to the next curve, or to the next hill, where you can see. So you don't just sit in your vehicle and just be concerned about maybe the vehicle close
in front of you
or whatever.
So let's talk about things crossing. Yeah. Now, I remember a long time ago, I was driving and then a dog out of nowhere popped up in front of my vehicle. I did not want to hit the dog, and so I tried to veer off the road so that the dog could cross. A gentleman in the car behind me told me never to do that again. He said if you see an animal on the road, hit it and drive on. Because if you try to skid off the road for the animal, you might end up in an accident or you might end up injuring other people on the road. Is this correct?
Yeah, I think it's correct. So when
dear.
I'll talk about collision in a bit.
Okay.
So if you are caught up in a collision, there are split-second decisions you have to do, whether you are going to even have that head-on or you have to. So in terms of the animal, I will ask you, animal life and human life, at that point, which one is more important to you? So I'll because you may want to kind of dodge or whatever, then you skid off, maybe you land into the next person's room or whatever, or you kill somebody by the roadside, and it becomes a very huge discussion now. But for the dog or for the sheep or whatever, maybe the worst they can do is for you to pay for it or whatever, then you move on. So at every point in time, we have to kind of, that is why you need to kind of understand the risks and know which one to kind of take in a matter of split second. So when it comes to collision, because it's also part of defensive driving, let's say, for instance, on our highways now, we don't have the dual carriages. So you are caught up, somebody is doing a wrong overtaking, and you are caught up in that situation. The first thing is maybe to be able to slow down. For a defensive driver, if somebody is driving towards you in your lane, you should slow down. Signal the person, either with your light if it's in the evening or with your horn. If you think that the person is still not responding, then you must be prepared to veer off the road. There are times then you are caught up between veering off the road, going into a ditch, hitting a tree, or going in for the head-on collision. So which one do you take? Going for the head-on collision or slamming into the next tree?
I'll hit a tree.
Why? That's a brilliant answer anyway. Yeah,
is it?
That's the right answer.
Okay.
Yeah, so you kind of hit a tree.
Yeah.
You understand why? Because there's something we call momentum. For stationary objects, momentum is zero. It's like that's the mass of the object and the speed at which it's moving. For instance, if I'm doing 100 kilometers per hour, and you're also doing 100 kilometers per hour from the opposite direction, effectively we are moving about 200 kilometers per hour, multiplied by our individual weight, translated into force. That is how much impact we are going to have. But a stationary tree doesn't have any velocity, so it's just the momentum of you. So the kind of the collision effect will be less when you hit the tree than hitting the oncoming vehicle.
Okay.
So every time you make that split-second decision to know which one is actually the less of the two devils, you pick that one.
Huh. Interesting. I have so many stories on the road. I was driving through 37 once when I was going from the 37 traffic light towards Max Smart. And then out of the blue, I saw a taxi coming towards me. Now, do you know the 37 road very well?
Yeah, yeah.
A car should not be coming towards me on the same stretch because the car is supposed to be on the other side. The cars going the other direction should be on the other side.
Exactly.
So out of the blue, I saw this taxi coming towards me, and
exactly.
all the other cars were giving way for this taxi to come through. Now, there was one car in front of me, and then the car veered onto the pavement. So I followed the car and veered off onto the pavement. The taxi stopped and people ran out. We later found out that it was a chase. The police were chasing robbers in a taxi. Yeah. They stopped in the middle of the road. They ran off. It was a very scary incident. Now the car in front of me that went onto the pavement, the driver of the car got badly injured because he drove onto the pavement. I don't remember what was there, but he drove into something. And then he got badly injured. I was directly behind him. I drove into his car, but I was not injured. So for the moment there, I was thinking to myself, if I were in the driver's car, would I have driven onto the pavement? From this conversation, I see that was the right thing to do.
Yeah, yeah.
Would I have driven onto the pavement? And honestly, that split-second
decision,
I don't know. When it happens, when it's happening in front of you, right now as we're having this conversation, it makes sense, less impact, less speed, whatever. But when it's happening, realistically, is one likely to want to go and hit a tree?
So
I would probably just have stopped.
No, you don't stop. You see, so that is why when we talk about defensive driving,
Yeah.
you don't get to the road before you start
worrying about what could happen.
Yeah. So you should, okay, I'm going to drive through this, let's say it's a long journey or whatever. So you do your journey management planning, you plan all the hazards or you anticipate all the hazards. And
How can you anticipate this hazard?
So it's a training.
there'll be armed robbers on the
Defensive driving, yes. Sometimes when you are driving through certain roads, you could anticipate that there will be armed robbers.
Wow.
So if there are armed robbers, what do I do? Do I give them the vehicle? Do I keep some money or whatever? So you need to anticipate all those things before you hit the road, because you don't allow yourself to get caught in the middle of something. From your narration about 37, and you said you slam into the other distance. So I see some kind of tailgating over there. So
there was traffic.
There was traffic.
So as soon as the lights turned green, we all started moving,
okay,
and then the thing happened.
Okay. So I may want to touch briefly on tailgating as well, because tailgating is also one of the things that cause a lot of problems for us in this country. So tailgating is when you are following somebody closely, and either in a city drive or on a highway, and there's a 3 seconds rule. How do you know that you are tailgating somebody or somebody is tailgating you? So there's a 3 seconds rule. So what happens is you kind of identify a stationary object. Once the driver ahead of you passes that, the back bumper of the driver ahead of you passes that stationary object, you start counting 1001, 1002, 1003. That's 3 seconds. We are not saying 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
1001, 1002, 1003.
Why 1001?
Seconds. So at least the people who have made that rule or whatever felt that a second kind of is in agreement with if you mention 1001 instead of just 1, 2, 3. So 1001, there's some kind of slight delay over there. So that kind of amounts into 1 second. So 1001, 1002, 1003. So you look at the back bumper of the driver ahead of you, and you identify a station. It could be a tree or it could be a house or whatever. So the moment the back bumper of the driver ahead of you passes that object, so you start counting. If you get to that stationary object before you count the 1003, then it means you are too close to that vehicle. In the event that there is an accidental braking, you may slam into that guy. And somebody who is tailgating you, let's say you are driving and somebody is tailgating you, what do you have to do? Do you pick up speed to run away from the person? No. That is a mistake a lot of us does. It's like somebody is tailgating you. So no, you do when you have a tailgating, then you go to the 6 seconds rule now. So you are creating enough space in front of you and the next driver for 2 reasons. So that when that guy accidentally hit you, you are not going to hit that guy in front of you. Or once you kind of drop your speed, the guy at the back who is tailgating becomes kind of uncomfortable and slows down or maybe passes you by. Then you kind of avoid an accident. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah. Wow, I see. So tailgating is wrong.
Tailgating is
even
wrong.
In bumper-to-bumper traffic.
Sometimes you can't avoid it. Let's say the traffic we have here Friday evenings and things. But
have you ever gone to Kaswa? Trying to come to Accra in the afternoon. Yeah. Now that's real bumper-to-bumper traffic. Yeah. In situations like that, tailgating can be acceptable.
Can be acceptable because, you know, when we are tailgating, we also have to consider the stopping distance.
Okay.
So stopping distance is calculated as your reaction or perception distance plus your braking distance. So the reaction or your perception distance is when you perceive a hazard on the road, let's say somebody is crossing, the distance it will take you from moving your leg off the accelerator to the brake to start braking. There will be a distance. Generally, it's calculated. I don't want to take you into those things too much, but generally, it's calculated as when the speed at which you are moving. Let's say you are moving, you take the first digit of the speed at which you are moving, you add it to the speed and multiply by 2. That becomes your. So let me give you an example. Let's say you are moving at 50 kilometers per hour or miles per hour. So your stopping or your perception reaction distance now becomes 5 plus 50, which is 55 times 2. So that gives you 110. So 110 feet or whatever, the calculation is there. So you kind of move about 110 feet before you are able to stop. You understand? So then you add that to your braking distance. The braking distance, that one it has to be calculated based on the effectiveness of your brake, the road conditions, and all those things. So
And
once you
whether
are
you're
not,
wearing high heels or not,
yes,
that too.
that too, yes. So defensive driving, you don't even go into driving with high heels. I've seen most of the ladies, or even sometimes the guys also do it. They get into the vehicle, then they remove their shoes and everything.
That's also wrong.
Yeah, so it's wrong. Even if you want to do that, take it and put it at the other side, maybe the passenger side or at the back, because people leave it right in front of them over there. What happens is that thing slam under your pedal. So maybe you're in a situation, you're pressing your brake, there's something under your pedal.
I tell you what happened to me once.
Tell me.
I had a canned drink.
Yeah.
I had a canned drink
Yeah.
in the car. I hadn't opened it. So it was somewhere in the car. I don't know what happened. I think it slipped and fell. I did not see it. I did not know it was there. I got to a point I was supposed to step on the brake. The canned drink was under the...
You see?
It was a very scary experience.
So what
for
did
me.
you do?
I pushed the handbrake. So I literally I parked and pulled the handbrake.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I did.
It's better for the vehicle
it
to
was-
have some minor damages.
It was scary, yeah,
So we don't do that. We
Yeah.
don't want debris, your shoes or anything around the driver's
Yeah,
compartment.
so I learned
over
the
there.
hard way.
Yeah.
So it can be water bottles. It really can be anything. So
Yeah.
it's best to keep the whole place clear.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's so much I want us to talk about, but we don't have a lot of time.
Yeah,
We may have to come back again
Exactly.
and talk more. So do you have a lot of people coming to the iGarage with problems that they have had on the road by their own doing?
Oh yeah.
So it's not always mechanical, normal car problems.
No. I think a lot of the time, we, the vehicle users, fail the vehicle. It's like from even an engineering perspective, we say the machines don't just fail. We fail the vehicle. So people come to the iGarage, either they fail to do the maintenance on time or they have gone into some crazy situation and the vehicle has become faulty. So, yeah.
I see. Anyway,
So
we have to wrap up now. How are things at the iGarage?
iGarage, yes, we are getting a lot of traffic in.
A lot of
and in
eyes.
case you want to come into iGarage, we are located at the Adenta Frafraha, just from the barrier driving into Dodowa, about 1.5 kilometers. We are located on the left there. You can call our number to 030 251 5412. That's your office line, 0302 515412, and we'll give you the best of services.
All right. Thank you
you.
so much, Kosi, from the iGarage for everything cars and more. Still to come, a lot of Ghanaians have been trying to break one Guinness World Record or another. So far, all the attempts in Ghana that we are aware of have not succeeded. However, Ghanaians elsewhere are doing well. When we come back, we'll have one of such conversations with one gentleman who has actually attempted and broken a record. Stay tuned.